Hello, it's me, Jay, your GM. I use he, him, and this is another episode of Jay's Really Good D&D Show. On today's episode, I've decided that I'm going to do an interview. I've seen that in other situations, channels have done interviews with celebrities or friends, and that those interviews have done big numbers for their channels. Lately, my channel has not been growing at all, and I think that that's because of you, because you have not been liking and subscribing, as I told you too many times. But instead of blaming you, I'm going to try out a new interview format. I sent out many emails, and unfortunately, I did not get any replies. I sometimes think that the interview format and the obsession D&D seems to have with getting celebrities to play D&D is a sign of a really vapid entertainment industry, as well as a constant need for affirmation from external structures. Like the fact that we're obsessed with getting celebrities to acknowledge that D&D is a fun game is kind of a sign that we ourselves are insecure about Dungeons and Dragons and playing it. If we really were confident that Dungeons and Dragons were a good game, maybe we wouldn't need that sort of validation from outside forces. But either way, I need those clicks, so let's get right into the interview. Because none of the people I invited on the show responded or even checked the messages in most cases, I have instead decided to invite my roommate, JMO. So, this is my roommate, JMO. JMO, you play Dungeons and Dragons, right?
No.
Okay. That's going to make this more difficult. So, what do you think about Dungeons and Dragons?
Dungeon and Dragon means like dungeon, dragon in a dungeon. Alright? Yeah, the title says Dungeon in a Dragon, so what do you mean? Same.
Yeah, of course. That's true. Okay. So in 2024, in November, they're going to release a new edition of Dungeons and Dragons. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, really excited. Really too much.
What's your favorite class in Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, I was in class A.
Class A?
Yeah. First class.
Dungeons and Dragons has a lot of archetypes from, media, right? So, because of that, Dungeons and Dragons has always been based on, like, literary works like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, things like that. So, is there a character who you'd like to play in Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, I like to play.
You want to play Dungeons and Dragons? How many times have I asked you to play Dungeons and Dragons?
But you were busy with your friend anyway.
Uh-huh. But I asked you to play, and you said, what?
No, I didn't say no. Never.
You said no. You said no. You liar.
You just asked me, do you want to play? But you never let me play. You always play with your virtual friend. Online, I don't know.
How many times have I asked you to play Dungeons and Dragons?
Couple of times.
And you always say no.
I don't know what is it. So.
This interview's off the rails. You've destroyed the interview. All right, great. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
How long have you been interested in Dungeons and Dragons?
I don't know.
Since you were a child?
Not in a child. Come on. In child time, I have something to do.
So you only play Dungeons and Dragons when you have nothing to do?
Yeah, of course.
You know, that's very insulting to everyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons regularly, right?
Come on. Besides the Dungeon Dragon, there is another life too. I have to do something.
So you're saying that people who play Dungeons and Dragons don't have a life? Wow. That's really rude, you know?
I didn't say they don't have a life, but
You heard it here first. This is the hard-hitting kind of questions you're going to get in this sort of interview.
Yeah.
He just said it.
I didn't say nothing like
You watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie, right? You watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yeah, I did one, right?
You went with me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the fuck? You forgot already?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think you were actually sleeping through the back half of that movie, weren't you?
No,
Yeah.
that's really good,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, good story.
Who's your favorite character in that movie?
Okay, wait a minute. Dungeon and Dragon. Yeah, I went with you so many movies, so...
yeah, of course!
Recalling like which one. That's the last one I know.
Uh-huh.
But What happened over there? Give me a little story about it.
And that was JMO. First of all, thanks to him for being on the show. Second of all, thanks to you for liking and subscribing if you enjoyed this content. Make sure to follow me on any of my 75 social media accounts, so that way you can get tuned in for the next Jay's Really Good D&D show in at least 1 year's time. Until then, please make sure to follow and subscribe and make the numbers really big, because it makes my ego better. Goodbye. I'm Jay, and this is JMO. This is my roommate. JMO, you play Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Oh, yeah?
No, you don't. You fucking liar.